Put it on this computer.
Ooh,
All right, look at this. You have a full house.
look at that. Everybody's on.
Yes, you have them.
That's
All
good.
right.
I got all my documents open here. We're all good.
Okay.
All right, we're ready
Okay.
to go. Welcome, everybody. And we did open the meeting at 3:32, so we're good. And Margaret is going to do the roll call.
So we have Paris and Ruth and Joe Nicastro, Ron Burke, Colette, Derry, John Hemperly, Margaret Ely, and Alice Mitten, all present and accounted for.
Thank you very much. We're moving on to Secretary's report, which is Margaret Ely. Again,
That's, well, whatever.
whatever is there.
Does anyone have any questions on the minute?
That would be from the minutes from the
Really
board
new.
meeting, and the general membership meeting was in here as well.
Mhm.
If you saw that, does anyone have any questions on those? Well, first, let's get a motion to accept them. Do we have a motion to accept
I
it?
move to accept.
And a second,
I'll second.
and any discussion, then we can discuss it. Just doing it the way I always, our council meetings go, we do it. Now we can, so if there's no discussion, nobody has any questions, any changes or anything, then we will ask for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No, that was easy. Treasurer.
And that was Paris? had
Paris, yep,
moved?
yep.
Okay,
Yes.
just wanted to make sure.
John is on to the
Stay home.
treasurer's report.
Mom's not gonna be home.
Hey, there's your money. Alice sent the treasury report out with everybody.
It's up to you.
We'll be
I'll take
encountering
you
some
I'll
big
take you to
expenses
practice
with,
if you want.
with the conference
Huh?
coming due. Those payments are coming due, but
Derry,
wanna
you're
go to
not
practice?
muted.
No, you're not muted, Dara.
Sorry,
That's all right.
my kid just got home from school, so he had a couple questions about practice tonight, so sorry about that.
okay. Get that list of chores out as well.
No worries.
Garbage, mowing. painting.
Homework.
So our investments bounced back a little bit, as you can see. And any other questions on treasurer's report?
With the treasurer's report, was there anything drastically different? There are a lot of numbers. I did look at it. I didn't see anything unusual. Any particular line items that are
No,
call out on it
things are pretty much as the norm, as we've been.
as the same? Okay, as before. Okay.
Okay, one thing that we did get the credit card invoice. We're looking at $11,000 for the conference that we owe. So what I said to her, I said, we had the board meeting to make a decision whether we want to pay that off or pay over time and take the ding on the credit card interest. What I told her to do was minimum plus interest for the first payment. So that, and then we can decide what we have coming in is for bath fitters. We have February's outstanding, and that was about $1,300 that's coming in. Not all of that is obviously the associations. We also have at the cars wanted, that individual will be again bringing in another $2,600 for his ads because he pays for 26 weeks up front. We also will have another March. I just invoiced for the March bath fitters where we had two of the publishers sold bath fitters, and that'll be $3,000 that'll be coming in as well. So we do have income coming in, so I didn't know what we wanted to do.
So the income's coming in over the next couple of months, is that what we're saying? You
Yeah,
expect it all in by May? Is that when it would be in? you think?
yeah, I reached out to Isabel with bath fitters to find out where we are as far as the status. That was Tuesday that I reached out to her, but I didn't see anything back from her.
Yeah.
When we were gonna see February's come in. We also have been having, the conference happened, and then right after that, we were having some $600 and $700 weeks with media bids as well. So we're a little behind on payment with them. So I see a couple of months coming in from them as well. So,
Yeah. The reason I was asking was we talked about somewhat, do we take the money
we did.
out of investment or do we pay it on a credit card? If we know money's coming in the next couple of months, then my preference would be pay it as you're going and then
Yeah.
pay it all off when you get the money in. I hate to pay interest on credit cards because it's
Same.
crazy
I
to do
do.
that much.
I do
But if
too.
it was going to be 6 or 8 months, then my suggestion would be to take it from the investment because why pay 20% on something? But
Yeah.
if
Right.
you think the next month or two, the percentage won't kill us. That's my opinion. I don't know about anybody
Yeah.
else. But see where we are when that money comes in and just pay it off rather than go through the process of taking it out because it's another process, right? To get it out of the investment and do all of that stuff. And
Right,
but I
right.
don't
It
know.
can take as long as 2 to 3 weeks to
Yeah,
get it.
in a
So,
month we could have it half paid for all we know.
right.
So,
Right.
but I don't know anybody else's opinion on that.
Could we pay maybe a third of it, a third, and a third as the money comes in,
Right.
rather than the minimum? Because I hate
And-
seeing it paid.
Yeah.
in
Yeah,
And-
because then
Well,
you're,
she's doing the minimum right now only because we also have CVC.
Okay,
So we have that invoice, that a lot of times what we do with theirs is we do half of it 1 month and half the next month. And that's what we're gonna do with this. So, yeah. I will. And I'll stay in touch with like John and Joe as we're going along because we can pay, like if we see that money has come in, we can pay that off even in the middle of the month too.
right.
True,
It's not like we only pay once. So
true.
we'll keep an eye on it and it, maybe, we have the 11,000 that we would take out, a lot better than what I thought it would be. Because it could have been 15 to 18,000, so. So with that said, well, I don't know if there's any kind of motion. I don't know what we'd motion about.
Is there really, I don't know if it needs a motion on that.
I
We're
don't
paying
think so.
bills, right? We're just paying bills. It's a question of,
Yeah.
I guess if we were taking it out of investment or something, we might.
Yes, we'd need it for
But
that.
this is normal course of business. We're just saying, see what happens.
Yeah.
Right? So I don't think we need a motion.
Yeah.
Could we give it a deadline? Could we say, hey, if we don't have the income to pay it off by a certain date, we take it out of our investments?
Yeah,
Do we know what the interest rate on the credit card is? Is it
I don't have that in
normally
front
they're
of
what,
me.
26,
I
25?
they're up
don't.
Yeah, I think that's something we said that we would look at.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know what?
minutes.
That is something I need to
You
get.
don't want this to drag on. If we're in April already and you're thinking 60 days by June.
Yeah, we're still adding
and
costs to the
otherwise,
conference.
Yeah, then we're gonna keep
Right.
adding a 26% interest on, that's a lot.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So maybe we
Okay.
should look at it again and see where we are by June 1st. Give it 30 plus days. and Let's see where we are. And make a decision by then. If we're close, then we say wait another month. If we're not,
Okay,
but because it's already what, it's almost the end of the month already, 20th. It's crazy.
Yeah.
11 more days. So we wait 40 days by the end of June, end of May and see where we are. If something happens. Goes up
let's do that.
as the payments come in.
Yeah,
We can always.
sounds good. And
That's a
I'll
good
let
idea.
Vicky know that too. That's what we want to do.
Yep.
Is okay.
That's good.
Let me go back to the agenda here. Where I was looking up something else I gotta tell you later, but let me go back to my agenda because I just moved it. Okay, so we are back at we need a motion to accept the treasurer's report if we didn't.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Colette and
Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Karen.
I mean, roll call. I'm thinking of doing my council meeting. Everyone in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? I'm like, you wait for my.
We have a politician here.
Yeah, I'm waiting for the clerk to do the roll call. That's what I'm usually used to. You got to hear all the names. All right. So anyway, we're on to the conference, John, 23 and future.
Yeah, we did not have a meeting today or this month, but I do want to defer conversation to the digital folks. I know they met and have some ideas on it.
I saw your email.
So are we up next then, Joe?
Well, we can go right to that.
Yeah, that
We
makes
can
sense.
skip over my membership for now because
Yeah.
in any case, the conference, yeah, so we'll skip membership for now. There's nothing much to report anyway, but digital for my end. So we can
Well-
do digital and education for you. That ties in.
I'll start just by saying, at the last board meeting, we had voted about having a virtual conference in fall 2023. And after thinking about it and talking some more, it just seemed like maybe that was a little bit of overkill since we just had the conference. But our conference committee, or our digital and education committee, Ron and Paris and Alice and I met, and we really think that putting together some webinars to keep members involved and to keep training is a better way to go. And so, Paris, do you want to talk at all about our idea of using kind of a heading of, what did we call
What
it?
do we call the convergence of print and digital? And the thought process was behind that is looking at, and Ron does this very well, integrated solutions. And so on one part, because we're print, so print, we believe that print will exist, but there's also opportunity for us to take advantage of digital. So what we talked about in the workshops, and we worked to, and Ron could speak about our partnership with Google. And so in order to prepare, even to consider digital sales, is you have to know your numbers. And so as part of that, Google has what's called Ad Manager, and it's attached to the website. And basically it starts to calculate your numbers. And so at the Baltimore Times, what we do is when we are selling solutions, we say these are our digital numbers, this is our print distribution, right? And so we have both of those numbers. So really arming, first informing, letting them know, hey, this is how it works, and here is the opportunity. And this really is your digital value. And I think coming out of working with Google, what we understood was our brand value. And because what we would do is we would give away digital. We called it value added. Right? Because our revenue really came from print. And so now we were able to grow our digital. And so really an intro to digital and being able to, over time, understand digital and understand your value and even understand how to sell integrated solutions.
So we came up with an idea to start with of like 3 topics. And one of them would be, and we're trying to do this, not spending money, is having Ron present a discussion or a webinar about integrated sales training, because he just doesn't, he bundles it all together when he talks about your advertising. And I think he would be a good presenter for that. He talks about understanding, like Paris said, your brand value. Paris talked about creating a sales deck to present to advertisers. So that could be, one topic for a sales team. For management, we would probably try to get Google to do some training on Ad Manager and AdSense. And I mean, Paris showed us her dashboard for ad manager, super impressive. But, you know, I don't know a lot about that, so I'd love to learn more about it. And then graphics, how do you design for digital? I mean, Colette, you do, you know, a whole digital publication, but when you're talking IAB sizes for ads and things like that, maybe there's more things that we could help the designers with if they're selling that type of product or when they're selling that type of product. So, but the first thing we wanted to do, so first off, we wanted to present the idea to the board to, and I don't know if we need a vote on this or what, but you know, we had voted to have a fall virtual meeting, would be to scrap that and put that time and effort into more webinars, you know, as many as we can do, if it's every month or every other month or something on different topics. And we talked about doing a survey again of where everybody is with their digital presence and knowledge and things like that. But we don't get much back in the way of feedback when we do like email surveys. So we were considering having a brief Zoom meeting to try to get feedback from people on what they would like to learn about. And then Ron and the digital committee can go back to Google and say, okay, this is what most of our members are really looking for this. Because Ron, do you want to talk about Google a little bit? Like you were talking about how we have so many different like
You're on mute.
levels of
mute. I'm sorry, I was just-
There
publishers.
you are. Now
You're
you're back.
having a conversation, huh?
So I have a good relationship with Google on many different levels, and Google does quite a bit of training. And so I asked them, could they put together some trainings for us? And they said, sure, but first we need to, and it would be specific to our members or to our individual publications, but we'd have to figure out what trainings were needed. And like we talked on the committee meeting the other day, if you look at our association, it's all of our members are not apples to apples. You have some that are mainly shoppers. There's little to no content. You have some that are that have more content than others. So some of the digital needs may not be the same for everybody. And the other thing is you have to look at location. We talked about the fact that in certain parts of Pennsylvania and the Amish country, digital may not be as important because the people that you're reaching are not going to go to a website, so forth and so on, And these are general statements, and it's not meant to be condescending or anything, but in any training, I just feel that the training needs to fit what your needs are, not what the trainer thinks you should know. And so we got to find out what our needs are. And maybe there's categories. Category A is papers like the Baltimore Times and the Washington Informer that are more so content driven, and advertising is part of the mix. So the shoppers that are all advertising, but do these ads need to be in the digital space? We don't know. And Joe, maybe you can answer this question. So if you have, because I know a lot of your ads are coupon based, do they work in the digital space? I don't know. So we have to figure all of this out. But long story short is we can talk to Google and tell them what our needs are, and they'll tailor some trainings for us.
Ron, question. Could they help us just based on just the information that you presented with a list of questions that would help to qualify and help them to better fashion a program? That's because they have a lot of products. I mean, they got a reservoir of products that could probably meet the different needs from introductory to, where you, like you say, meet them where they are. And
I can talk to them a little bit more, but understanding that Google is a digital company, and that's how they make their money is through digital advertising. Well, that's one of the ways they make their money. They make a lot of money through their cloud services too. But So we just need to figure out where where the needs are, and then they can customize the training. They probably have a list of canned trainings that I can get that list and we can look at. So
We just did a reader engagement audit through Google, which I thought was really interesting. My editor found out about it somehow, but that might be something. It tells you how much engagement you have on your, your mobile
Yeah.
and business
absolutely.
web, and are sticky, and is your newsletter sign up
Mhm.
easy to find, that kind of thing. But I thought it was really interesting. The things that we could tweak to make it even better.
Absolutely. And I mean, there's a lot of reasons to and everybody doesn't have the same mindset about digital either, but there's a lot of reasons to pay attention to getting into a digital space. One of them is revenue or potential lost revenue. And some of you may have heard me say this before. I had an advertiser a few years ago that told me, when we go in and we, this is, November, December, hey, let's talk about next year. And the guy told me, he says, Ron, he says, I want to give you the same money that I gave you this year, but 30% of my print budget is going to be cut. I want to give you the same money, but you got to give me a digital product that works, And the reason why the print budget was cut is because the people who were writing the checks understood, and increasingly, you can't measure print. I can tell you all day long that your ad was on page 5 and we printed 9,000 copies or whatever, but I can never tell you how many people read page 5 in your paper. You
Right.
see, and what companies are looking for now is engagement and being a good steward over their money. If I spend X amount of dollars with you, I need to know who's seeing my ad. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that's when I realized that I needed to start getting into a digital space, but not go away from print, but bundle it so I can still give you the value of my print audience, but at the same time give you the metrics that you need to keep spending money with me.
And just to add to what Ron said, and Colette, what you're saying in terms of being able to access and have your metrics. If you're working with the ad agency or they start placing ads with you, you have to have that in place, because it does all of the work for you in terms of the report and counting impressions and generation. So just having that in place really positions any platform, digital platform. It gets you ready for that, so you're able to speak to your numbers.
And if you look at Tim Bingaman and Jim Kennedy's audit forms, increasingly there's more and more on there about digital. You gotta be able to present yourself and talk about your total reach, not just how many papers you print. And
I would think some of these suppliers like January Spring, who does programmatic, and Accelerant would do some educational, kind of
Yes.
They
basic.
do. We're actually going through that with CAP right now with January Springs, and
Yeah.
we've had several Zoom meetings going over. They also, when you sign on with them, they give you access. We had to have all of our salespeople go through certification classes, online classes to get. It's called off the top of my head, it just slipped out of my mind. Anyways, there's a 101 and a 102. They're about 2-hour or 3-hour courses each that they have to be certified on before they will start presenting the programmatic to us that they offer, just so we all have a basic understanding of how it works. But they do offer a lot of training, and I know they're one of the ACP sponsors. If any of you are ACP members, you can get more information through them there, and also I'm sure they would help us out too. So
Yeah, and I was
Thinking
thinking
of
and you know
maybe
what? I had forgotten all about January Spring because it was brought to my attention at our recent conference, and that might be a better option than Google, because January, if already partnered with ACP, they will likely understand our businesses a lot more than Google would.
And so
And you're
far, I
right,
mean,
I looked at their site there, Derry. They
Yeah.
they got a lot of training videos right on the site.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Simplify is the training source. That's what I was trying to think of. It's called Simplify, which is training for almost all types of digital media, from streaming, video to, website and email focusing I'm just at a loss all of a sudden for all the terminology, but they have a lot of different types of digital
Stuff.
media training and also that they do. So
Mhm. They may be a choice for us as an
Mhm.
associate member as well.
mhm.
I
Because it
think
sounds like it
so.
would be a good match.
Yeah,
Yeah.
especially since,
Yeah, it does.
a significant part of our members, CAP are already using it,
Right.
Yeah, we probably already have, I could be off by a little, but I think we just started selling this in the last couple weeks, and I think it was a slow rollout for us because a lot of us are, I hate to say we're all old folks at our company, but a lot of us, just to get educated on what that, programmatic and all that, how it works. It took a little bit for us to get up to speed on what they needed from us and what we needed to get from them. And, but now that we're doing it, it seems like it's really starting to take off. And, we probably have a dozen or more customers already utilizing it. And, so, some of the metrics that we're getting back, of course, they have all the detailed responses, click-throughs, all that information is very easy. I mean, from day to day, you can follow it, and you can report it to your customer so they can see it. It's a lot of information for people that don't know how or what that is. But I think they make it. We tried to learn it on our own a little bit at the start of this, and I think we were just not knowledgeable enough to do that. And now we reached out to them and asked their help to help us get rolling with it, and they've been great with Zoom meetings and training. And so it's been the last couple of weeks have been really taking off for it. So our salespeople are getting trained up with it,
Well,
and yeah.
I
Derek,
see
do
that
they-
as a webinar.
Mhm.
Do they have a proprietary dashboard, or are you looking at like Google Ads Manager?
So I think it's their proprietary stuff, because I'm pretty sure they get Google information too as well. But I know they have their own proprietary control panels, and I mean the speaker that we dealt with just on some of our first couple customers brought that up right in front of us, and we could see, real time, how many people went through the stuff. And then you could change the campaigns, you could geofence the ads, you could, there's just so many
Look at
different.
you using these words.
The geofencing
Yeah.
is really good and expensive. Do they provide ongoing support, like if you
Yes.
need it? Okay, that's really important.
Yeah.
is
And
looking,
that was where in the start of this, we were a little confused because we thought we had to do a lot of the work as far as coming up with those packages, as far as zip codes and geofence locations. And in some cases, if you have customers that are really specific, you will have to be more involved. But if it's more of a generic customer that you can let it, they'll take care of a lot of that themselves. They're very,
Right.
and that was where in the start, we were a little confused. We thought more of it had to be on our end, and they were like, let us do this for you. We're like, please,
Well,
because there's a lot of details that we just weren't educated on. And like I said, now that we're sort of on the same page, I think it's going to be a lot smoother going forward.
And they take a percentage.
Mhm.
Of what you
They
sell.
do, and they charge basically per impressions, and they'll give you, they'll look at your distribution, your market area, your demographics, and they'll give you an estimate of what you should charge. And they get, they tell you what they charge you, and then what you should charge your customers. And they really do make it easy. And you don't have to go along with what they say. We started at a lower price point than what they recommended us start at, just because we weren't sure for this area what was a good price or not, but again, there's a lot of details, and that you as an individual company can tweak and change and make fit your business model better than say, it's not one size for everyone. So
And I think
I'm
offering
curious.
those introductory videos, because as
Mhm.
publishers, we don't know what we don't know until
Absolutely.
Right.
we're exposed to it and
Yep.
why we should be paying attention to it.
Mhm.
You know, they're hoping we'll end up doing business with them, but
Right.
I think
Mhm.
that would be a nice membership perk, is to offer
Yeah.
these Zoom meetings
Yeah.
with all those different vendors, so you
Mhm.
can understand like why it's
Sure.
important.
Actually, Colette, that's a great idea, just in terms of promoting it as a benefit, right?
Right.
That's That's a really great. So question for you, Derek. Does that, I guess the question I would have is, do they use Ad Manager as a plugin? Because, for example, if you're working with the agency, say an agency places that, sometimes they require that you have Ad Manager. Are they willing to accept that particular platform? in
That
lieu?
I'm not sure. I'm not because
Okay.
I'm not real down with all the technical programming
Mhm.
and stuff that our graphics design people and how they. I know what we do at CAP is we design they request for the programmatic. They request 5 different ad sizes for each
Sizes, right.
campaign. And then
big
they
sizes.
can send those ads out for the different apps that people are using on their phones or computers or whatever. And there's the 5 standard sizes that they give us, and then our graphics design people create the ads. I think as an additional fee, they will do that for you if you don't have a graphics department. We do. So we do the ad design, and then
Right.
you know, and then like I said, they gave us feedback on some of our original ads had a whole bunch of details in it. She's like, you don't need these. You don't necessarily need phone number, address, the kind of
Right.
stuff that you would definitely want in a print media ad so people
See,
can
and that-
find you. But all these ads take you to their website. So you don't need all that detailed information because you just want a place, you know, if you want hours of operation or whatever, but you want to keep it simple because all they do is click on that ad and it'll take you right to their website, which gives them everything there that they need as far as hours, phone numbers, if they want pricing or whatever.
And that's
or
where I
whatever the
was
promotion
saying,
is.
you know, graphic design for the digital space, because it's like
Yeah.
it's like a billboard.
Right.
7 words or whatever is all you
Yep.
need for a
That's what she
picture.
says. Their statement is 10 words or less if unless you absolutely have some kind of a, you know, pitch or something that you're pushing. But I mean, some of our original ads were just so full of details, you know, and they're like, you don't need all that. And again, they were very helpful with, we're not knowledgeable in that area. So for us, it was helpful. So
But like
the
to
other
Paris,
one-
I was gonna
Paris,
say something. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
well, to Paris's point though, I think I would still like to learn more about Ad Manager
mhm.
Pro in that dashboard, just to, because if you don't go with somebody like a January Spring, then you
Right.
might be using that. But
Well, that's where I was gonna go into with this. I mean, digital stuff, that's what we're talking about, is fine. And, you know, I guess we're going through the whole program, which is really not what we're doing. Talking about January Springs, what it does. And I've
Mhm.
heard good about it. But again, any of those are gonna be good. And I like Ron's, you know, I gotta hear it from publishers and other people that are using this per se, more than a vendor. Because we've always had webinars, and webinars are good for vendors. I have no problem if we had a webinar, like I think a couple of years ago, before we merged, IFBA was doing a 12 o'clock or whatever it was, and they would highlight a vendor, you know, and those people that wanted to go on would go on and listen to that. And it was a good thing because they talk about their business. And that's what it was. If you're interested in January Springs, well, then they would have a webinar and say, hey, come and check this out. And publishers would go. But I look at it as a lot of our members are small like myself.
Right.
So we're talking about, I know you guys are obviously a lot larger than
Sure.
most of us here. And you have
Well-
staffs, you have people, you have the ability to do a lot of these other things.
Right.
That's where we fall through the cracks.
One,
You know? Go ahead.
sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
That's right there.
I was just going to say, and I'm not professing that January Springs is the best. For
Yeah,
us, through ACP, we had a meeting with them, and you know, they were offering a really great introductory deal. There was no long-term contracts that you had to sign up for. So
Right.
for us, we've been talking about getting into this world for a while and just didn't really know how. With that offer that they made us, it was kind of a no-brainer for us to try them. There are definitely other companies out there that may be easier, more local. I'm not even sure where their corporate office is located, but I know one of our tech people in our graphics department actually keeps telling us that we should use a different company that would be easier to use. Although she's since changed some of her opinions on some of the help that we've gotten now from them that cleared up a few things. So there's a lot of different options out there. And like I said, I wouldn't want to push January Springs over others. That was just the first one that we tried it with because there was some great offers as an ACP member to give them a chance to see what we could do with that. So
But I
It
think
sounds
even if
easy.
you're small, if like I said, you don't know what you don't know. At least you can
Right.
watch it and then understand like how it may fit for you. And I mean, it may
Sure.
not. But
Well, and they deal with most of their customers are businesses like ours, and you know, I mean, whether I think their model is set up to be more user friendly for smaller publications. You know, again, I don't want to sales pitch them. I haven't been involved with them long enough to say whether they're the best or not. I just know it's the one we're using right now, and that's what I'm familiar
I
with.
use them
so.
too, and it was a learning curve. But again, I didn't even understand what the hell I should be pitching. But
Right.
and then I've gotten a lot of appointments from pitching it. And then the other one is Second Street, the contesting platform.
Yeah.
And I just learned this. Like I've been doing this for 30 years through Second Street. And I watched one of their webinars, and I can capture the emails from anybody that voted for banking or financial or insurance. And I can sell that to other banks. So maybe,
Right.
you know, so I mean, and I've gotten appointments from saying that too. So I've gotten
Sure.
my foot in the door by saying, hey, you want to reach, you know, these people that are using your competitors' banks, we can send messages directly to them.
Right.
So
Nice.
Look
Second
at
Street-
Colette's,
Second
point,
Street.
James.
Well, I think
Second Street was good. Second Street was very good. I
Mhm.
used them for the contest portion and made a lot of money the first year.
Mhm.
The second year was not as well, and that's when I canceled it because I was paying a lot of money each month. But it did capture a lot of emails. So bottom line is we're looking at the digital stuff, which is really
Yeah.
important because I want to get moving with 410. Bottom line, all of the digital stuff is important. And all of these, whether it's going to be January, Spring, Second Street, whatever we're interested in, you guys as a digital committee come up. I like the idea of getting me personally of listening to a seminar or webinar from one of our publishers first, like Ron, who's going to say, I'm doing this and here's where it is. You know, I like to know what a publisher is actually doing. What are they making enough money on this? Like, where does it fall in percentages?
Yeah.
How much work, you know, small publishers as well. How many people are there? You know, for me, that's really what it's about, you know. And for me, I look at like also, you know, if there's an opportunity for a webinar, I would love to share with the membership about my email newspapers. How I do it. You do it too, Colette. But my email newspapers, you know, I'm making anywhere from $5,000 to $8,000 a month on those, which is more than I was making on my print ones, because it's just a way I'm doing it. And that has nothing to do with digital per se. That's just another avenue.
But that's.
I think if we look at our members and what they're doing, I'd like to hear from the publishers or the salespeople what is actually working like Ron's doing. And
the newsletters are just, that's another
yeah,
digital.
I mean, you got another avenue there that we don't
Yeah.
know about. There's a lot of opportunities, and maybe that's where we can, and they can be short webinars. You can build them into a half hour, 40 minutes, it don't have to be an hour, 2 hours. But you know, give me that break time and say, hey, listen, for 45 minutes, you're going to learn about whether it is a type of January Springs or it's going to be Ron talking about Google or your newsletter. I like those ideas because that's really, it's like our publishers forum. It's like trying to get publishers or
Right.
people together. So I like those ideas when you're talking about.
Do we need any kind of vote to, since we voted on that virtual conference for fall?
I don't know. We voted on we voted to have a virtual conference, I
But
guess.
did we vote on to have it in for this fall? I can't remember that part.
I
Yeah.
don't remember
Yes, we
where
did.
were.
We
We
did.
did, okay.
My take on it, I hear you saying webinar.
Mhm.
Do you want to have them as webinars, or do you want to have them as Zoom meetings like we have right now, where people can see each other?
Mhm.
And, you know, because if it's a webinar, it's just the speaker or speakers
Right.
that are visible.
This would be more like a round table where, you know, where everyone
Right.
can
Yeah.
chat and
Right.
give
Frankly,
ideas.
Frankly, I like it like this. I mean,
Yeah.
you can mute people, but my feeling is how I see these working is they will create an energy and a community more than if we have it as a webinar where it's just that speaker doing it. Because what I see happening is that when we do an actual conference, I see people, because of providing them with this training, they're going to say, I can finally meet this person in person. And it'll have
Well,
totally
I think it'd be
different-
appropriate to do it both ways, because
Yeah,
sometimes
I
if
think
you
so.
get into this kind of situation,
Yeah,
there's a little too much interruption and things like that.
agree.
For the sales, maybe I could see us doing it. But when it's publishers and management,
Well, you can still show pictures, doesn't mean you have the ability to interrupt.
Right.
right,
Even if you're on Zoom, it can be type your question in and do it. Doesn't mean everybody's muted. So
Right.
if you're leading it, because you don't want people jumping in every 2 minutes, because that's
Sure.
right. Let them
Yeah.
put the list of questions there and then go through the questions. I mean, but keep it with the Zoom. Seeing each other is great, but again, you don't have to make it so everybody can interrupt.
Yeah,
Well,
the
my
moderator can
thing, though,
control
is-
that, right?
Well,
That
yeah, you
with-
just put them on mute. We've done a lot
Yeah.
of Zoom meetings where we can't talk. We have nothing, we can't speak. We could only type in questions if we had.
Yeah.
correct.
So
That
as
would be a
long
good
as we're all
one.
good with not doing the virtual conference in the fall, then the digital/education committee will meet
Yeah.
again and,
Uh,
come up with some ideas.
Yeah, that's
So-
what I think. You're doing
Yeah,
good.
and I like the proposed plan to do like 2 different formats. So Joe, I agree with you, it's good to hear from the publishers and the publishers roundtable, publishers exchange, or whatever you want to call it. I think those would be very, very helpful. It doesn't have to be me, or it could be one of them, or somebody else could do one. But then when you have the webinars, seminars, or whatever from the subject matter experts, like a January Spring, whoever, then we do those the same way we're doing right now with Kevin Slim.
Mhm.
So I can see I can see both formats working,
Mhm.
and then the more we do, hopefully the more feedback we'll get from the publishers and their staff that this is what we need or this is not what we need, and then we can
Well,
act
I
accordingly.
asked that only because we're watching our pennies, and the way that the format is for the Zoom meeting, it's part of the monthly payment. Not a problem. We take care of it because I just take care of it. From there, the webinars, there's a cost.
Mhm.
It's an increased cost on that. So just
You mean the Kevin Slim webinars?
the Kevin Slim webinars are with him, and yes, there's a cost.
Okay.
We pay $39 for each person that goes onto those.
Okay.
But well, not $34. But
But-
if we were to do them for that company that they don't have the ability to do webinars, we would have, or a member wants to do it as a webinar, we would have to set it up as a webinar and pay the additional cost.
Okay.
Do you know what the cost is?
I'm not sure what they're charging right now. I can,
Okay, so I think that we can defer this to another committee meeting.
yep.
And in the meantime, Alice can find out, because I think
Mhm.
Joe probably wants to move the meeting along.
I do, but I just want
Yeah.
a question on that, and we'll move on. I just want to know when you're saying that. So the difference between, I just want to make sure, because to me, I get confused now with the Zoom, because we do a lot of stuff in the town too that I've been doing, and basically we hold a webinar on Zoom where people see you have an option to put your video on, but they see the moderator and see everything again, showing your slides, doing your whole presentation with nobody speaking and asking questions through text, through the chat.
Mhm.
When you do a webinar, isn't it basically the same thing? Somebody's presenting something, you're watching.
A
What-
webinar,
I-
webinar is more expensive because,
No, I meant look of it. When you get on a webinar, you're watching the.
well, if all of you take this right now, this Zoom, in other words, what I would do is I would set the Zoom up so that it's in the speaker view.
Right,
Right now, I'm looking at Joe.
that's what I was asking about. We can
Okay.
have it moved for both ways. Why
Yeah.
spend money on something else? That's what I was
Right.
asking.
Right.
Right.
I think that only makes sense.
Yeah, because
To
why
be
would we?
able to control
Sure.
that everybody is muted except the
Mhm.
speaker.
So that's fine. So we can move. Margaret has, and Ron, they know what they got to look for now. They'll meet and they'll come up with some ideas and whatever. Trust them.
And Paris, don't forget Paris. 'cause
Paris,
she-
yes, there you are. Jeff. I apologize.
It's okay. Now, we
All right.
I was in a webinar, was it earlier today? Yeah, it was a branded content and they did it by Zoom and then they shared their screen. And what was really nice is they did have someone who had the experience on the call. And then the other thing they did that was really interesting, even throughout, they did surveys. So like 4 surveys popped up and you got an opportunity to gauge where everyone was. And then you would see the results right on the screen.
Pretty
So
neat.
some of that interaction may be also helpful because now we come away with a better sense, having been exposed. And then the speaker comes away with, okay, on our next session, then I need to address these.
Mhm.
Based on.
Well, ironically, the Mentimeter that Gib used, I've used that and it can be incorporated into Zoom.
Mhm. Oh, great.
There you go. That's another thing to add there. All right. So we did that. We got the conferences, membership. I don't have anything more to report on membership other than one thing outside of something. Alice, was there anything else with new members or anything that you know of? Okay, no.
I am not aware of anything.
What I know was yesterday on the ACP meeting, it was just an interesting conversation. They made more of a joke of it, but a Pennsylvania paper joined ACP, which is, I was going to tell you who it was,
Okay.
because you would know who they are. I think it was the savings guy, Jen Myers, I think is. the
Oh,
one.
we have them.
Nice.
Yeah, they're members. They joined ACP, but they chose the lower fee, said, well, Mac was paying my CVC, so we don't need to get CVC from you.
Okay.
Oh, no.
So, and that was the joke through the whole meeting was, well, maybe we'll just tell people at MACPA, they should.
Oh,
get
thank
MACPA
you very
membership.
much. Yeah.
So they were happy with MACPA doing that. So they didn't want to share and they didn't want to go up on the price or whatever, because they would have to pay a higher fee with ACP. But I just thought it was funny and worth mentioning. So
Well, it behooved MacBo to pay the higher fee for him
you're right about that.
because
Probably
they
Yeah.
have a pretty big circulation.
they are. So you might
Yeah.
look into that and say, hey, you know,
So,
what?
hey, yes, we'll
I
do
would
that.
ask Douglas or Cassie, you know, what they're paying and what the difference would be, and then contact them and say, guess what? Not only are
Covering
we
that
doing it, but we're going to put you at a higher membership level and offer you more because you're a great member. You might save us a lot of money. So I would
Yeah.
find that out before we end up with other, you know, you never know, because they're on a big recruiting mission of calling people. I'm on the membership committee there too, which I still behind.
So I'm
For
sure
the
they,
record,
I'm
I'm
sure
behind
they
there
looked,
too.
I'm sure they looked at our website to discover who hasn't been. So it's time.
Maybe. I know we're going through old lists of literally, they have a list for the magazine that goes out. And we're supposed to go through it to qualify people who's still in business and who's not. So I don't know what happened there. But anyway, that one came in and I don't know who got it or whatever. But that's all on the membership, digital we did, executive directors, monthly report. What do you have for us, Alice?
If
We
one
just, go
Yeah.
ahead.
I was just gonna say one thing I wanted to also say, only because I just started going through this myself. Any of the ACP members, and I'm sure Joe, not to keep plugging ACP, but the Power Sales University that they have on there, I started going through that
There you
training
go.
myself because we've been talking about having our salespeople use it, and I wanted to see what was involved because I know there's a lot of classes material on there, and so I'm on like the 4th month now, I think, and there's a lot, and it's really good training. I saw that gentleman in person a few times.
He was horrible.
Yeah, exactly. I was just gonna say,
Horrible.
I know Gene
Ugh.
was bragging up these seminars
Ugh.
or these training sessions, and they're really good. I
We passed
enjoyed
them,
them.
huh?
A
Took
lot
me
of
a
them
long
are,
time to get through months. You got through 4 months already, huh?
yeah, I
kept
probably have
failing.
about 4 or 5 hours into it.
I keep failing the test at the end, and you got to keep taking it again.
Yeah, but it's really good stuff. It's for seasoned salespeople. It's it's, you know, it's good refresher, and for new people, it's great information, I think.
Yeah, you're
So,
right. And I urge everybody who's not using it and you're a member, use it, because they're trying to figure out where we're gonna go with this 6 months from now. If we don't get any more people using it, do we keep it? They
Yeah.
have people using it, but you know, everybody's worried about money. So
Sure.
definitely look at it. It is an amazing. And thank you there, because it really is a good system. So I'm glad you got to look at it.
Yep.
Because until you look at it, it's hard to figure out. But anyway, yeah, that's great. Thank you.
Well, and just so you
Um,
guys realize, like I'm on the 4th month. There's like 24 each session's considered a month's training, and I'm on like month 4, but there's like 24 months worth of sessions on there, and each one's probably an hour or an hour and a half of training, and little eight part videos, you know.
That's what's nice. And you get tested after each one.
Yeah.
So you have to pass it or you go back and do it again.
Right.
It's really a pain. But anyway, that's that one. But we should look at our members, make a deal with ACP, because it's really a good benefit if you're a member. Tell them, hey, you paid for the audit, so you give us the other thing. Anyway, Alice, what do you have for a monthly
So
report? Since we're-
just for us, follow-ups to the conference, obviously, as well as the normal reaching out to the advertisers and working with bath fitters on, you know, what they're doing. Yep, that's where we are.
All right.
Yeah.
That was easy.
Yeah.
And we'll see. All right. So does anybody have any old business? Seeing none there, do we have any new business? See nothing there. Is there anything good, good of the association? Anybody have anything they would like to there? Boy, and we can still get done within the hour. So that's a good thing. So I guess at that point, I would ask for a motion to adjourn. If nobody has.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
A
I'll
second.
Well,
Who
all in
seconded
favor?
it?
Aye.
Aye.
All in favor? Aye. Any
Aye.
opposed? Anybody want to stay longer? We can keep going. No.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank
Yeah.
you all. Thank everybody for getting on. I know we're all busy and going nuts, so.
Have a great weekend, everyone.
Good
Everybody
time.
enjoy that good weather we
Bye.
had.
Casey, I'll be in touch. I've been so overwhelmed to update the information on our.
That's okay.
Yep.
Hey, Casey.
All
did
right,
I
see ya.
Give you my information for
Yeah.
the paper yet for the website. I think did I send it?
Think you did? I might have missed that. Might have slipped through the cracks. I will.
No,
work
I don't
on
care.
it.
I'm just
Yeah,
asking, did I
yeah.
send it? Because I have a bad memory, so.
I think you did send it. Yes.
If I didn't, let me know and I'll resend some, because I have.
Okay.
Do you have
All
any
right, sounds
bagels
good.
there for eating?
I do, I can bring some up and that's it. We're gonna get it going again, so. I'll bring a bag with me when I drive to the next one. I'll remember.
You better.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, guys. See you
All
all.
Take care, everyone.
Take
Thanks.
care.
Bye.
Take
Bye.
care,
Bye,
everyone.
guys.
Bye-bye.
Oh, Mom.
Yeah. Casey.
One, my car is moved.
Whoa.
Where
Hey,
it
your
is, I
car's
don't
moved,
know, but
Annie.
it's not where it's been for the past 6 weeks.
Well, they were hoping to do that to get you off of them.
Well, yeah, I mean, I called and I haven't gotten a call back. So, and at this point they're closed. And two, we aren't closing tomorrow now. They have extended our interest rate for no additional charge because it's on them now. Apparently, and I had talked to Dave, that's why I went, oh, I don't know if you saw I went away. I got a text from him. I have kind of a 911 emergency. Can you call me? So I called him and I've already took care of his issue. But anyway, he's like, how are you doing? I'm like, well, and that was just after we found out about the closing thing. And I told him, and I was like, it's because we're paying for things out of the loan and they never informed us we weren't actually supposed to do that.
Oh,
So
really?
like, so on our
But you're not allowed to take care of things.
apparently not. Apparently it's not typically allowed. So like, for instance, like the stonework and the carpet and the propane and another propane and the sewer hookup. We were gonna pay for all 4 of those out of pocket. and I would send them the invoices, and I'd be like, we're paying for these out of pocket. And they would say, okay. Not, no, you're not allowed. Nothing. Just, okay. So then, today or yesterday, that when I told you we're definitely having closing at 11 o'clock tomorrow, they had it all set up. They needed the insurance. For some reason, Steve couldn't get, like, he tried emailing it and he couldn't get it to them. So I sent it to them this morning at like 8 o'clock. I think he finally emailed me and was like, I can't get this to them. They're blocking my email. Can you send this to them? It was our certificate of insurance. So I sent it to them. I got an email at 1 something asking if we can sign the propane tank thing. So Ryan and I signed it and we sent it back. And then at 3:30, I sent an email saying, when will we be receiving our closing costs? Because, like, I moved money over, but is it what I need? I don't know. We have to get to a bank to get a cashier's check. I got a call saying that our closing has been postponed because they're restructuring our loan to allow us to pay for these things outside of the loan, which is very nice of them, but it's like, you weren't doing your job. So, like, Dave's like, who did I refer you to again? And I told him, and he goes, that's really surprising that he didn't provide you with any type of educational information in that you can't do this. This is not allowed.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm very disappointed to hear that. And I'm like, yeah, I was very disappointed. I was doubting my trust in you.
Ha. Oh, gee. So when do
so-
they anticipate it to be?
They extended it an additional 10 days, but we were told that that we'll have no problem in having it done probably the beginning of next week. So there may be a day where I either, like, it
That's
was
not
supposed
10
to be
days.
11 o'clock tomorrow. So there may be a day where I show up early or show up late, have to leave, or, I will, as I've been
Where are
telling,
you getting this?
where are we having the
The
title
your-
company, or where
yeah.
are we, or who's our loan through?
Yeah.
Where's closing?
Closing.
Closing's at Signature. Our loan is through Univest.
I don't know either. Yeah.
I don't, but anyway, so, like, we called because, like, Jewel, Randy's assistant, his assistant was the one who called me, and she goes, you can call Randy and he'll explain it all to me. And, like, so Ryan and I called him, and he's like, this was a complete oversight on us. He's like, nobody caught it that you guys were paying for things out of pocket, and the fact that they are allowing this restructure and allowing you to do it is very unusual. Like, they don't do this. Normally they would just be like, sorry, but he's like, I think because you guys have great credit and you have the funds, they're just allowing it. So thank
That's
you
so
God for
nice
that,
of them
because Ryan did a quote for Randy's carpet showing labor of $12,000.
Oh my God. He's worth it.
Yeah, well, yeah, a normal situation. He goes, I quoted what would be normal. I'm like, well, thank God this is an exception, or we'd be having to pay Randy's carpet $12,000.
And the thing is, it would be over the lifetime of the mortgage.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. They probably
They're
looked at
hoping
that and
for the
went, okay,
beginning.
they own Randy's carpet, and one of the things that they're doing is the carpeting, and that may have had something to do with it.
I'm not sure. He's like, this is extremely unusual that they're allowing this to happen. He's like, I used to work for did you say Santander for like 20 years? And he's like, this is never, I've never seen them allow something like this. Okay, well, thank you. But
yeah,
maybe inform people prior to, like,
yeah,
educate.
that would be nice.
Yeah.
So maybe
So when I know, I'll let you
sometime,
know.
if you're lucky, you'll be doing the closing on your property.
What's really funny is earlier this week, yesterday actually, my one boss is closing on a house in June. And she goes, maybe we'll be closing at the same time. And I'm like, no, it's definitely happening.
So call her up and tell her it's her,
Well,
it's her fault.
yeah. Well, Ryan is blaming Dave.
Ah! Oh my goodness. Did you go last night to that
No.
networking thing?
No, after dealing with rushing to set up a closing that's now not even happening, I sat on my ass.
I went to Vibe. They had an open house. I'm glad I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't realize all the space in that building.
It's
That is
huge.
crazy.
Mm-hmm.
That is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It really is.
Yeah. I went there a few times for
Pound. The pound classes.
yeah.
Yeah. So were they decent or? Yeah,
I'm just not spending money right now, so that's why I haven't gone.
yeah. What do they charge for it?
Like $8. It's not expensive,
Jeez.
but
Well, I'm not gonna trudge up the 3 floor, to go up there. What, do you sit on the floor?
Mhm.
Okay.
So, well, not
First of
the
all,
whole
it's
time.
getting up.
Not the whole, not all of the songs. Most of the songs you're standing. They do have a few that you have to lay down, like sit down or lay down for.
Hmm. Yeah.
So,
Well, I guess they're looking to, because the dance studio is moving down
oh,
the
really?
street. Yeah, down where Perry Indoor Golf was. They're moving there,
Oh,
which is perfect.
right. That's big.
Perfect for them. So they're moving there, and then they're bringing some of the senior classes down to the first floor.
Okay.
And eventually the 3rd floor will become an apartment.
Okay.
They already have 2 1-bedroom apartments that are being worked on right now. And already
Doesn't
rented.
she live there also?
She lives on the other side where they have 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath. Then on the opposite side, where probably you were you, like when you go up the
You have to go, you go down the alley. Like, not really the alley, but you walk in between
yeah,
the building
then
and
you
you
go
go in the
up
back,
3.
you go up the door, up the flights of
Did you
stairs. Yeah.
turn left and go into a room to your left when you did pound?
Well, it was the top floor
Mm-hmm.
and you just walked straight into
A big
I
room.
mean, you walk straight into where you paid and then you went through a doorway to your left and that's where the class.
Okay, so the doorway to your left now is 2 apartments.
Oh,
And if you go straight, that's where they have pound now.
oh,
And that is going to be, the 3rd floor is going to be the 2 1-bedroom apartments and the 1 2-bedroom apartment eventually.
okay.
And then when Culture Shock leaves, that's when they're going to move down with their classes to the 1st floor.
Okay.
So I'm going to wait until they're down there to do anything. But
I'll go with you. I
Mhm.
just have been really not trying to spend any type of money unless I absolutely have to.
Okay.
Type of currently.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Which I told Ryan I need a drink after this week, so that's a have to spend money.
Yeah. What, after you've done the signing of the,
No, after just this week of what we've dealt with
Oh.
trying to close. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Sounds like a plan.
All right.
Have a drink. Go
Yeah.
to Westy.
Yeah.
All right. Now
All
you're
right.
making me hungry.
What?
Now you're making me hungry.
Sorry.
That's
I
okay.
didn't, I just talked about a drink. I didn't talk about food.
Well, with drinking comes food too.
Yes, yes.
So,
Yes.
all righty.
All right.
Okay. Talk to you
Sounds good.
later.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay.